even like saying goodbye to Julie and then actually have.
So we're gonna start the live stream, just to make sure there's no glitches or anything. Are these other folks?
Anna's supposed to be here. My brother's supposed to come.
And Tanya.
Who? Oh, Tonya. Natalia, okay.
I mean, it's up to you, we can wait, it's only, there's still a few minutes before.
It's just, I'm sure you see already.
Well, we see that already. Like you get there, you have to drop off Claudia at school, drop off Luca at school. And then basically, comes back to work, where she left about home, right in the crib. So, she said, Carlo, when I come home, all I hear is her tail on it.
Oh, yeah, her feet in the crib. It's amazing.
But she didn't work when we left, nothing, she was really good.
She's crying.
She started crying like a couple of days ago.
We should just come out sometime the next little bit for that.
Yeah, the first night wasn't too bad. I slept with her. And then the second night was when she said she might be cold all and but yeah, I think she'll do it. She's really good. She kind of gives us hints now when she wants to come out already too. In a few days.
You thought about the bell?
We will put the bell. We have one downstairs, right? But she still doesn't know how to do it.
Oh, that's right, you have the bell that came with the house.
Yeah. So there's no stick. She doesn't use it yet.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Well, you're bell training her?
Yeah.
We're on the model, right, so.
We're here for the bell upstairs and downstairs. Well, that's important, yeah.
We need help with that.
Oh, I just. Send it to me.
Originally, we were looking for the one more like, the more patchy, the gold and the brown and the yellow and all that.
Right.
But,
She clicked you.
I really couldn't find the one that we like. And then this one here, even though it doesn't have all those matching colors, but it has the eyes of it.
Oh, it's the eyes are gorgeous. First thing I said, the only thing I said on Facebook, wow, congratulations, you're earning. Beautiful. I'm excited to meet her. Just,
She's all Claudia. She's up with me.
yeah, but you'll be working from home. So she'll be home.
I'm almost permanent from home.
That's what I'm saying.
Permanent.
She'll be home. Just like the pillow, just take her to the house. But she'll only use you till about 3 o'clock. Because once a year, I'm not a child. She only uses you in the morning for lunch. Once those kids come, that's it. You're not, you're just the, you're the home baby like that. So it's funny how they know. Well, hopefully she won't be a peer.
So when they go outside, like before you open the door, just ring the bell and then.
Does she appear? No? Yeah. I think it's just.
The only because we're all learning.
Right.
So we're starting to notice now, like when when we're having dinner, she always go outside like before dinner. By the time we serve and everything else, she starts acting crazy like around the table. And it's not that she's begging for food, that she has food whenever she wants. So she's trying to listen to that she needs to go outside. So the first couple of times, first couple times for a couple of hours.
You're like, come down, we're eating, stop. Yeah. And then you'll notice too, it's weird, but when they look at you, you understand.
And even when I go downstairs, I go downstairs, they put her on the seat and I'm going to see different things. And she basically says, she wait because it's called on her. And she goes outside and
That's attachment.
it's like a certain routine.
Yeah.
소영.
나는 소감입니다.
이제
There's a story about a young child who heard that his neighbor had passed away. The child's family, not thinking that this little boy understood the meaning of these words, were confused when he insisted on going over there to see the family member who was now there all alone. He was gone for what seemed like a very long time, but eventually he returned with a smile on his face. When his family asked him what he was doing there, he simply stated, "First, I helped her cry, and then I helped her smile." His parents were confused. "You helped her cry?" they asked. "How did you do that?" He said, "I just hugged her." And then they said, "Well, how did you help her smile?" He simply answered, "I just listened. I just listened as she told me about some of the places they had gone, about some of the things that they did, when she told me all about Portugal, and talked about things like his cooking and their grandchildren, and that made us smile." That's the wisdom of a child. No one had to teach him how to care. No one had to tell him that when someone needs someone, when they've lost someone in their lives, that you need to reach out. He instinctively knew how to love. So I guess the first moral of the story is, first you cry. But then we cannot miss the second part of this story about this boy's heartfelt lesson about grieving. Because then he said that they shared memories that made it feel better, and he ended it with, "And that made us smile." So that's what we're here to do today. Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Kelly Malash, and it is my honor and my privilege to serve you today as your celebrant, as we celebrate the life of this man who has been such a huge part of all of your lives, an inspiration, Julio Carmo. There is this common denominator that everybody shares in this day, and that is Julio. If you had not been touched by this man's life in some way, big or small, you would not be here. You would not be participating. This thread that connects us all may seem fragile, but I assure you it's not. This bond shared between him and you may be the blood of family, may be of a mutual respect, sharing similar interests, a hunger to learn, a willingness to help, or just never-ending love. You've all played this important role in his life, and many of you have known him throughout the years. And this man has played a significant role in your life. So we are here to share love and support for each other. especially Julio's loving wife of 55 years, Odette, son Carlos and Julissa, daughter Paula, cherished grandchildren Nevaeh and Nico. Julio was the much-loved brother of Maria Julia, Maria Lucilia, Fernando, and Natercia. I have been working on my Portuguese and learning about the name Maria because I thought that that was a typo. And many nieces and nephews, and a big shout out to Chico the parrot, who is at home doing his best mimicking, I'm sure. And while this heaviness in your hearts is real and it's profound, we can take great comfort in knowing that Julio was greeted with huge hugs from his grandson Andre, that he's been missing terribly since September the 4th, 2014. As well as Chewie, the miniature Chewbacca, cockapoo, who crossed a rainbow bridge far before anyone was ready. Nothing takes the place at a time like this of sharing memories and stories. Because what they do is they lift you up, they elevate your heart in some way, they provide a cushion. Because as long as you're talking about someone, you feel them. And it's not possible to grieve for someone that you did not love or were loved by. And this gathering is proof that Julio and all of us here today have shared in a very special lifetime with him, which began September the 10th, 1944, and has come to a close just as the ice is beginning to melt on the waterways that he loved, March 4th at 76 years young. And oh, so much has been accomplished by this unique and incredible Tim Hortons with his buddies loving man. And there's nothing that I can tell you about Julio or Jack, or even Jackety Jack, as many of you refer to him as, that you don't already know. Many of you here thought of Jack as family. You maybe all are family. I think we're live streaming, so maybe some of his buddies are watching. But you're bonded by these mutual experiences, by friendships, by love and respect. And some of you shared a few things with him, and others of you shared everything with him. You are the ones that experienced his life with him, day by day, year by year, as it occurred. Those experiences will always be a part of your heart. So when we say, I don't know how I'm going to move on without him, the answer is you don't have to. You don't have to, because you experienced him and he shaped your character and he inspired you. You wouldn't be who you are if you hadn't had that experience with him. So when you move forward with him with you. Memories remain just memories, though. If left to stay silently in your mind and in your heart, by sharing a memory with someone who may or may not have been there at that very moment, that memory comes alive and it grows. It's reborn again and again, bringing you into a happier time, and often with a smile instead of a tear. So do not assume that everybody's memories are exactly the same as the other ones either. Even if that person was right there with you, tell the story anyways. Their memory is from a vantage point of where they were figuratively standing. Through the act of sharing, you're going to learn something that you didn't know before. And that's exactly as it should be. Julio's roots were initially planted in Portugal, where it was customary to graduate from grade school, then elect either to enlist and serve or embark on a career in the fishing industry. Julio elected the Atlantic. This was a body of water that he would travel to and from St. John's, Newfoundland, to take ability to fish for cod as it was granted by the Canadian government. Julio made this journey likely too many times to count, but he never missed a chance. And it was a trait that he was renowned for, to hang out with his friends. And circa 1965, he was also spending time with Cupid, whether he was aware of it or not. Cupid took advantage of a friendship between Julio's sister and a beautiful young girl who lived on the same street, named Odette. It was a bullseye success as both hearts were clearly ready for each other, leading to a January 10th, 1966 waltz down the aisle to share their forever and ever vows. Paul Schullery once said, "Calling fishing a hobby is like calling brain surgery a job." Julio was far more than a fisherman. He was a craftsman of his art that transcended through his life into other accomplishments. In his early 20s, he changed his fishing compass to point to Africa, where he joined a crew to bring shrimp home after the end of an expedition. His skill with knots and weaving, born from his profession as a fisherman, allowed him later in life to become sought after in his work with leather, such as fixing women's purses. And the truth is, if his hands could touch it, perfection of his task would be the outcome. He was the fixer of all things, and his garage was the holder of every tool, likely multiples of them, and ones that anyone could imagine. He had it. His excursions out to the coffee shop to meet with his good friends, then perhaps to swing by Value Village, likely always concluded with a stop at the hardware store to add to his copious collection of cool tools and gadgets. And just as he kept an astonishing order of everything, he not only knew the exact place they were in, but he had his own personal sensor to tell if they were touched or even breathed upon when he wasn't looking. His memory was as pristine replica as his attention to detail that he applied to his life. A human being is a single being, unique and unrepeatable. The word unique becomes precious when someone dies. It starts to mean, I loved it when he pulled up his pants and tucked his shirt in because he was so darn skinny. And I'd watch it forever just to keep him with us. It means that if I could see him coming a mile away because of the way those skinny legs gave him an unmistakable walk. It means that your dad was home for dinner, but he was soon off to see friends because that was the way he rolled. It means Julio ruled the barbecue, and when you brought him a coffee, it was a small Tim Hortons, 1 milk, 3 sugars. Who would have thought that something so simple becomes so precious? But that is how we value a life when it comes right down to it. It's those sacred nuances of a person that really mattered. When Julio said, we're going to go home and have some frog legs, you may have had no idea why he was saying that, but boy, oh boy, did it make him unique. And somewhere deep inside of you, you fell in love with him just a little bit more because he made you smile in a way that no one else could. And home is a word that describes where our story begins. And for Julio, that was Portugal. Home runs through our veins. Home is a feeling. Home is a place. Home is a person. Home is where you feel safe. Whether it's next door or the Atlantic away, we all have this culture inside of us, a place that makes us exhale and say, I'm home, I'm safe, I'm understood. I'm a European man back where I belong. and you, the family, are reuniting Julio with home. Back in his home soil with the most magnificent view imaginable. And when you think of him, this view and the sense of peace that it brings will prevail through all of you. And so the healing begins. And as Rumi says, goodbyes. Goodbyes are only for those that love with their eyes. Because for those that love with heart and soul, there's no such thing as separation. Grieving has no time limit. And just when you think you might be okay, a song, a scent, a memory will rise up and the tears will fall. And that's so okay, because tears are our truth. That's why we cry when we're sad. It's why we cry when we're happy. Because those are our truth babies. So don't think it's a sign of weakness. Our tears, the act of being vulnerable to our emotions, is the most powerful position that we can have as human beings. It makes us collectively kinder. It makes us profoundly more sensitive in all the right ways. And that's what the world needs right now. A little bit more vulnerability. So when your tears well up, let them. Because the only way to get through this stage of grief, is to actively feel it. And in that moment that it drops you to your knees, so be it. Because the amount of grief that you're feeling equals the amount of love that you had for him. So while it's hard, how grateful a moment is that, because you've experienced it. So be patient with yourself and be patient with others. Just because at one moment you can't breathe because you're missing him so much, and someone else is laughing and having a good moment, support each other, because those moments are going to change. Reach out to others as often as I know you already do. Do as Julio or Jack did. Keep talking. And you are now the ambassadors and the representatives of Julio's legacy. You must now carry on his memories in all of the ways that you honor his life. And as you go forward, commit to being an amazing and a constant friend. Release the inner adventurer inside. Throw your rod in the water. Dance because your wife taught you to. Work with your hands and embrace your friends. Go home, wherever home is, to whomever home is. Revel in the fun, the wonder, and the magic of life. And always find humor in the moment. Carry Julio's voice with you in your soul, right in the center of you. And listen for that voice that will speak to you with a witty and a wise piece of advice. And never forget that he thought you guys were wonderful. And that's because you are. To each and every one of you that has come out here this morning, and I know these times are difficult because what we're going through, and that's why I think that we could all make the world a better place if we practice a little bit more of Julio and connected as much as we can. To the family, thank you for allowing me to know this impeccable man through your eyes and your heart. Thank you.
So on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank Kelly Malosh for being with us today, sharing her words of comfort and allowing everybody to get to know Julio a little better. Thank you to all of those who have joined us online. We know that you weren't able to be here physically, but we know that your thoughts and prayers are with the family right now. So again, thank you for joining us online. In a moment, I'm going to invite, starting from the far end of the room, if you want to come up on my right, on your left. If you want to just pass by the casket, pay one last time with Julio, then make your way to your vehicles. The services are ending today. As you know, he's going to be buried in Portugal, so we're not going to a cemetery this morning. So beginning at the far end, I'm just going to invite you forward. Just come up on your left, pass by the casket, and make your way to your vehicles. Thank you. Okay, folks, you want to come up?